There can be only one podcast, and may it be the Prince of the Universe. Hi, folks. I'm Matt.
And I'm Wes.
Oh, hey, we're going to finally talk about the show you've been asking me to talk about for months.
After all the spotlight has fallen away from this show, we're finally going to talk about it.
Yeah,
Since we'll be the
X-Men
last podcast to cover the show.
We will be, probably. Probably the last. Maybe not. Maybe after this, someone else will listen to it and watch it. X-Men 97 is the continuation of the original X-Men cartoon.
Yep.
I will say that we both grew up on this cartoon. We both enjoyed the cartoon. I have a lot of good memories with the X-Men.
Yeah, great memories with that show. It was
good storytelling.
Yeah, and the way this one started off, it made you feel like you were picking up where you left off. The music was good. There were slight changes to costumes, but that was good because it was still borrowing from
the comic books.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that really, really sold the show is it followed the storyline from the comic books pretty well. You know,
Yeah.
Cartoon form, we have to make some adjustments here and there, and I was totally for all that. But that you could recognize what story they were going for, and the highlight ones, you know. The big ones that you know, of course, the Phoenix, whichever they've done the movies too. But when they were out in the what's the Mr. Sinister one, the foreign lands, what was it called again? The Forbidden Lands. You know, when X-Men went out in the wilderness or whatnot,
right,
with Sauron and whatever, the winged creature, all that stuff. I remember just really being happy with everything and loving how the show was turning out. Then. They ended it. I guess it just ended. I can't remember if it had
I think it had something to do with just all the change at Marvel with that bankruptcy in like 96 or 97 when that happened. Mm-hmm. Because I know that the last season of it had different animation. So a lot of things just changed up. I just think that the inner workings of Marvel, that's when they started selling off their IPs. I just think
anything to make some money.
Yeah, they were like, oh, we got to just survive.
But this one was a success. They announced that this is coming out a few years ago, X-Men 97, a continuation from the old cartoon we always loved. And I was instantly interested and then instantly turned off when I heard the director say, we're making X-Men for the modern era. And I was like, that means it's going to suck. Usually, we're making this movie, but for the modern era. Oh, well, then that means you're going to suck because you ripped across.
I think that everyone went in kind of apprehensive and, for the most part, probably walked out with their expectations exceeded.
I would agree. Mine were as well. But here's the reason. I don't think I should be blamed. I don't blame anyone else for not wanting to watch it either, because how many times have we seen them take shows, even cartoons, and bring them back? And they are just completely gutted of everything that made the original special. It is too countless to name.
Yeah, it's definitely an abusive relationship with Marvel and I guess DC for sure also.
Well, with anything that they try to come back and make I'm trying to think of some examples right now, but every time it seems like they try to bring back something that was original.
More often than not, you're going to say
it's going to be a miss.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's going to be a miss. And when a director's saying that, X-Men, but for modern era, oh, well then never mind, I'm out.
But I thought that they did a good job with the modern era.
I thought they did an excellent job.
I thought
they did an excellent job. This is an excellent series that I would definitely recommend. I don't know, did they get the original voice actors back? I didn't pay attention.
I know we talked about that. I think that for the most part they did. I don't know if they got 100% of them, but I think you got your major players back.
Because I didn't keep up with the names back then, and I surely don't know the names now. Yeah. Okay. I thought the thing that makes this one different and somewhat better than the original is there was. I had notes and I got rid of them, but I do remember them, or they just got they got lost. I loved how Cyclops just didn't scream out Jean every other episode, and Jean scream out Scott. Which was kind of the trope of the original series. Yeah. Jean, Scott, Jean. Right. You know, we had a lot of that. We had the love triangle thing. And they dropped the love triangle in a way. You know, it's kind of
much more like
downplayed.
Subdued.
Yeah. And I think that's a good move because it had been played to death in the other one. And this time, Cyclops shows why he's the leader of the X-Men. The only reason he was the leader in the old series, please correct me if I'm wrong, is just because a long time ago, Professor X made him the leader.
I thought that the biggest thing that surprised me of this was the de-emphasis of Wolverine. Like, because you would think that's who they're going to highlight because that's how it's always been. And I don't feel like they did that at all.
I don't believe he ever got his own real storyline. He's sidebarring on everyone's storyline. Yeah, he was
very much, he made his impacts and stuff. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I was just pleasantly surprised that they didn't go right back to where they left off.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought, wow, this surprised me. But I'm just saying, Cyclops is usually just the guy who's in love with Jean. That's all, and he's leader of the X-Men. But now we see that he
takes a little bratty.
Yeah, but now he takes a leadership role. And there's some awesome fight scenes with Cyclops.
Yeah.
Bravo. Yeah. You did something that I don't think the movies have even accomplished. They made Cyclops. There's an action scene at the very opening scene in the series. And then later on, he had some other good action. And it was like, wow, someone really took the time to say, hey,
I feel like that's who they spotlighted more than anybody, which was surprising.
One surprise to me, I loved everyone that got the spotlight. I was surprised that Jubilee first had her own episode, but she got way more screen time. And I'm for that.
I am too.
Because she was always playing third string. All she did was pop some bubble gum, say, let's go, and put her little sparkler fingers together. And they didn't really do much else with her. She was like the side character that helped out the storyline.
She was definitely bring-along character.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But now she gets her own kind of B storyline throughout the whole plot with a couple of episodes on her own. And I wasn't annoyed. Usually that annoys me when it's, stinking little character. You just throwing them a free episode just because they need to be something. But I don't care about that character.
Yeah.
But this one, it was really good. I thought they brought back, of course, Sinister, Mojo, Magneto. You got to see basically all of them. Armageddon was only there as didn't Morph get into Armageddon or something, or was there a flashback?
Well, I thought that was good how Morph changed into so many different people in the MCU too. I thought that was kind of a nice little nod to
that one.
That everything exists. It just doesn't have to be. We don't have to make it work, but
right. Storm gets her own. Not that Storm was not ignored in the original series. But they definitely
gave her a lot of shine.
They gave her the shine, and I love the mohawk that they went with, the old 80s one. And then they said, okay, now that time's over. It's time to go back to a more classic look.
Yeah.
And I thought it was perfectly done.
Yeah.
During her time off. She and LaForge had the side storyline. Probably not my favorite, I'll be honest. I'm not really that big. I was not that invested in it. But still, I was like, this is nice. This is nice that Storm has her own line. I felt like everyone had a time to shine. Yes, there's one or two people maybe that I maybe should have gotten more time, or maybe would have been included. That would have been nice to see, Colossus and who else. But Nightcrawler got a little bit, you know. But that's fine because, to be honest, we saw Nightcrawler in the movie. We've seen Colossus in the Deadpool movie. So we've gotten a little glimpse of them. So let's get some of the other X-Men that we don't get to see that much. And if that was the purpose, I think they did a good job.
Yeah, I think that they showed what was possible when they want to revisit this and really delve into it, which is supposed to be coming in the next few years because that's their big money franchise that they have not tackled.
Yeah, they haven't tackled it. This is actually the first time we got to see a new type of X-Men in a long time.
Right.
So I don't really have any faults. I was looking for them too. I was definitely guarded on the very first episode, and about maybe the third or fourth went, okay, this is actually good.
I thought that the biggest thing is you peaked it so hard in the middle arc with the Gambit situation.
We'll go ahead and talk about that because I think that's incredible.
Yeah, that they didn't save that and teaser it at the end. They were like, we're gonna hit you with this, and then we're gonna show you how it plays out, and the drawing out of Rogue's character more, and I thought that was very good storytelling.
I thought that's the best episode hands down.
Oh yeah,
better than the finale and whatnot. And here's the thing, it would have made a great finale because if they're thinking, oh no, we're stretching this story outline no, I felt like we could hang on for another, how many episodes was it? 10, 11, 12, whatever. And this was episode 8, right? This is almost in the middle.
It was right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like it wouldn't have felt drawn out if they'd have kept this storyline going. I don't think that would have felt drawn out just because they had so many other things going on. And maybe they were thinking, oh, well, we've kind of drawn this out for a couple episodes. Time to,
I liked it because it was like so many shows you feel like they're building to something. You're like, can we please get there? Like, we have been very critical of a 4-episode story turning into 6 episodes. And I think it's great that they didn't, and I thought that they built up when they want to tackle X-Men 98, it's ready.
Yeah, the show never overstayed its welcome. I should mention that. There's not a time where it's kind of boring or you can tell they're dragging out the storyline. I kind of wish that, for Gambit to die, because we already said spoilers.
Right.
You had to have that to advance the storyline, to get Professor X back, to get the next storyline going. Yeah. I get that. That had to happen. But that episode was really just, when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow. I didn't think they'd do that. I didn't think they'd be that bold. Gambit is my favorite X-Men.
Yep.
So am I pissed off? No, because they did it a very good way. And by the way, this is X-Men, so anyone can go back in time. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Sure.
Yeah, so I have a feeling he'll be coming back. But still, what a great episode, because he gets his time to shine, just shows how good he is, takes out that rogue sentinel in the coolest way ever. Again, everyone had a chance. Everyone looked super powerful, even Jubilee with her gifts.
But they made the villains super powerful, too, so you didn't feel like, oh, they're just going to smoke these guys. You're like,
no.
Oh, well, they're killing.
They're killing it. Yeah, we should mention the Sentinel is like some uber-duper Sentinel that they're having trouble with. Gambit finds a way to kill it. Obviously, he has to sacrifice himself for it to happen. And the very end, with Rogue holding him, says, I can feel you now, honey. Right. And then they go to black, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, we had some story writing in there.
I think everybody that watched that was kind of when it went off, they were like, wow, that was
something different.
Yeah.
And I really feel like, and I don't know, the director got let go. Do we still not know why?
There seems to be no definitive answer on that yet, where I guess maybe that's just, even over an NDA these days, something leaks out. So I almost wonder if he was let go and then now they're in talks again because of how well the show did. But that's the problem with this now. Like, so much stuff is in the works. You're going, man, this was so good. You need to get back to it. But we're not going to get X-Men 98 until the end of 2025.
And I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me get to that. Well, we'll talk about that now. I think that's a terrible idea. Because in today's day and age, movies come out faster. TV shows come out faster. Anytime there's delays, that's less interest. That's more time away for people to find something else to care about, which is why these shows that give these huge delays. Oh, we had a writer's strike. Oh, we had this. Oh, we had that.
All this,
we had a buyout.
So disposable. If you've got something that is animated, to me, that gives you like an inside track to go, well, we don't have to worry about all of these 14-hour shoot days.
We're not going 22 episodes a season anymore. We're not doing these long. Yeah, you're right. We're doing shorter ones, tighter ones, tight storytelling. If you're not out within a year of your last one, you're too late. You're too late.
Yeah.
The time has passed. Everyone's a now generation. And I'll be honest, like Stranger Things, whatever, I don't really care. The last season got delayed again for another year. It's been like 4 years since the last. Guess what? A lot of other people aren't going to tear, and they're going to have terrible numbers.
Yeah.
Because people just move on. There's other interests now. It's not like Star Wars was so lucky. The prequels were so lucky to be some of the last movies to go out there back in the day when there was no competition.
Right.
You can't have a movie hit in theaters and then last for most of the year unless you're Top Gun 2, obviously, which worked. But at the same time, that was a coming out of COVID year.
You were talking on one of your other podcasts about when did movies like the CGI. I think that's where I felt like the CGI really dipped off, is because it was so reliant. Like, you could tell like they were trying to make up for a story with a green screen that everyone was like, "This is not what." I know it's totally jumping subjects.
I've said this before. I thought Black Panther was garbage. I don't know how good the actors did because the CGI is just everywhere and it's like vomit bad. And of course, this was, by the way, this is every Marvel movie afterwards. Yeah, I know. Every Marvel movie afterwards, it looks so fake and so. In my opinion, it started for me. It started with Black Panther. I was watching, going, that's the fight with the big ball. Looked like you were playing a video game. I was like, what is this? Looks like garbage. And you could see the obvious green screen,
so I
blue
guess
screen.
The way we could try to let all these touch again is the fact that this show, with the way animation is now, everything is a little bit different or way different than it was in the 90s, but it was still close enough where you didn't feel like this is a reimagining, like he said.
It was not. And I don't know.
It was just like it kind of evolved.
Yeah, and I don't really know. I mean, if he meant for the modern day, then I guess he's meaning we're going to make it more realistic. We're going to make it definitely more violent, which I'm fine with.
I was too. Like, yeah, let's get away from, this is not on Fox Kids anymore.
But when someone says we're going to bring it in the modern era, everyone rolls their eyes. Such a bad buzzword. So instead, maybe you should say we're going to make it more grown up. We know our audience is an older audience, and we're going to cater to that mature audience.
Yeah.
And it won't be your, Saturday morning cartoon. That's what these should have said. You say that, everyone's tuned. Now, not to say it bombed, because you're right, it did very well, and I'm glad. But the thing is, though, more people are finding out about it after the fact. Well,
I think that they were
out.
It built momentum, which was good.
Well, that's because it's good word of mouth, because people start watching it.
Because people go, oh, well,
really
this
good.
Did not suck.
Bruce had not seen them until after I finished them. I said, yeah, you need to. It's really good for the same reason.
Well, Bruce has so many excuses considering his work life.
His work life's pretty bad, but he can make the time to watch a show here and there. But the thing is, I hope the director got fired because of some scandalous thing he did behind the scenes that no one can know. I hope it wasn't that studio heads looked at it and went, this is not what we wanted. Because that just shows how more disconnected studios are to the audience. Because this is a good X-Men 97.
I just
stepped
think it's
on the shoulders of the original cartoon and made a better.
Fortunate that if whatever this guy did in his personal life, unless it was a criminal act.
Well, that's what I'm hoping, because if it was anything else that they got rid of him for, I'd be pissed.
Not everything personal and professional has to touch. Like, let him be who he is.
Well, I hope it was something like that and not something, trivial, or he got into an argument with one of the other producers or whatnot.
And it's social media based or whatever. Just, it's like, social media is as fake as a football bat. So who cares?
Yeah. But I really, because it's hard to find people who can take the content and deliver of an original thing and give it special treatment to make it better. I think Cobra Kai is better than the movies, Karate Kid movies.
Yeah,
and
you said that.
I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying.
You say that.
I thought Top Gun 2 was better than Top Gun 1. I love it. It's a cheesy 80s movie, but this was real. And now I felt they did this with X-Men 97. I love the original cartoon.
Yeah, I think that's the best kind of compliment you can give it. It's like, it definitely makes you feel like it picks up where that left off.
I mean, that's truly giving honor to it, where Ghostbusters, there you go, Ghostbusters falls flat. They brought the originals back, yay, but they're there for fan service, and it's obviously you have nothing to try to do.
Well, and it's hard with real actors, because, if you're looking, that's why the Hugh Jackman thing is so kind of like maybe a 1 in a million shot, because he still can pull off somewhat what he looked like 25 years ago. But most people cannot do that. It's just not possible.
No, that's true. And just going back to Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio's not the kid anymore. He's the adult now, and everyone's a little bit older, and they make jokes about them being older. But at the same time, if with the right writing staff, I think a good storyline can be told. Like, I was joking with a Ghostbusters fan, because we both watched Frozen Empire, and he thought it was meh. And I said, I get that. Everyone when they watch it go, meh, because it is. It's not bad. It's definitely not good. I mean, I'm just so happy that these other movies have come out, because now everyone talks good about Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, and I think that you talked about this on your Godzilla podcast about Jurassic Park. Like the more something comes out, it makes the
weakest of the original trilogy
better. And I think that we've just, and I'll say this, I've said it before, we've just been spoiled that so much of what we thought never would happen has happened. Unfortunately, it's been a law of diminishing returns with so much of it, rather than like a real solid approach, good storytelling. Yeah. We've got this planned out. We know where we're going. We're not just going to say, oh, well, we're just going to cut half this movie, reshoot it, and delay it a year, and we're going to change it.
Yeah. And to be fair, this isn't the past 10 years I'm talking about. I'm talking about the past 20 years. I mean, how many people looked forward to a Freddy versus Jason that seemed like it came out a few years too late? Like, that would have been the number one movie all summer long if they'd have brought it out, 10 years earlier. Same thing with Aliens versus Predator. Everyone wanted to see that, but when it came out, the first one is so bad, and the second one is not much better.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, I kept thinking, man, if they would have made this back in the mid-'90s, this would have been awesome. Because I think we would have had more people pay attention to the original content that made these characters great, and put like the comic books.
Yeah, too much time has passed.
That's true. Too much time has passed, and they've lost that magic, that amount to pick up. And we used to see it here and there. And every time I watch something like that now, I'm thinking, I wish this would have been made 20 years ago.
Well, I just think that they've got so much going on outside of it. And you can say, well, Marvel Studios, but how much is going? There's so much they've got trying to go on in Marvel Studios because it's so lucrative, and it has been so lucrative for them. This is going to get lost in the shuffle because someone else thinks, well, we're going to concentrate on a movie or something like that versus build something for your Disney Plus audience.
So you think, and this is totally valid, that you think this is something that they're eventually just going to cancel altogether?
I don't know if it's sustainable because it doesn't seem like it's a priority, which is unfortunate because of how good it is. It just does not seem that they're like, oh, let's get behind this.
Right.
Like you talked about, and we've seen that with so much live action, but we haven't seen anything animated in a while that's been this good. But I know we didn't talk about the What If. But that took
What If.
I know, but it was so long in between those seasons. It's like,
let me ask you this: there is a cartoon I've been watching that I've really enjoyed, Invincible.
Yeah, I've listened to your podcast on it. I tried it. I'm gonna have to try it again. It just it didn't grab me.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I've enjoyed that one. I want animation to come back again, not anime. Anime is something in its own right that has its own big fan club. It's huge right now, probably biggest it's ever been.
Yeah, I think that's interesting too. That so much has tried to. We're gonna try to make this what that is, rather than just let something be what it is.
But we can, yes, good storyline. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because animation should be something, and to be honest, it's not new. I think the DC animated universe that I've talked about on this podcast too before was excellent for the most part.
Right.
For the most part. I think it had some swings and misses. I kept laughing with you about Static Shock because that is just, it's beyond horrible how that's part of the DCAU. But, and then a Batman Beyond spinoff, the Zeta Project or whatever. But besides that, had some pretty good episodes, had some pretty good movies come out afterwards that I've really enjoyed. So, and I've watched some other DC animated movies, and I've enjoyed them. Their animated universe is much better than their live one, but I wish there'd be more emphasis on creating quality stories because you can still do this.
You can just tell it's just such not a priority, and the fact that this was so good, you kind of feel like it was like a reunion show for like a band that you really like. They said, we're going to play 12 shows and that's it. And I feel like that's what's going to be X-Men 97. It's going to sit so long that when they pick it back up, people are going to go, it wasn't as good as X-Men 97.
That's true. That's true. We have no point because we'll be seeing it as a completely different project.
Yep.
At that time.
So much time is going to go by again.
I hope that doesn't happen, but I also agree with you with so much going down with Marvel, them cutting announcements, stories, TV, movie, whatever.
Yeah, everything's
they're going to focus on the movies. But the thing is, though, I don't know. I think they did kind of scatter shot, but you know what? When you're hitting, they couldn't miss for a while. So they thought they could just green light anything and people would come to watch it, but you forgot. You have to have some content there. You have some
I think they're
writers.
controlling their cost, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. My point is I think that once they want to pick this back up, it's going to be too late. Yeah. The momentum, they're going to have to rebuild it all over again.
Also, the question is, what happens when a new director, let's say a new director picks it up, the tone could shift.
Right.
And everything, it could be like the Batman, Adventures of Batman and Robin, the third season of Batman.
Yeah.
Where the artwork, the development crew, everyone changed.
Everything
instantly
felt
you're
different.
Like, ugh.
Yeah, it was.
What is this?
It was more Animaniacs than Batman.
Yeah, everyone was drawn a little bit more, and by what I mean by cartoony, out of style from the first two
original.
Yeah, the first two seasons, and a lot lighter than the first two seasons. Like, and the characters, the villains become a little bit more goofier, not to the point of embarrassing. But at that point, I'm like, no, because you watch the old Scarecrow episodes. He's scary.
Yeah, no.
And in the third season, he looks like he's like the Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz.
But we've talked about this before. Like, I feel like the Scarecrow's the one that looked the best evolved. So, with the noose around his neck and stuff, I like that.
And then the Riddler, drawn disproportionate. I don't know. I just don't like the way any of that's drawn. But neither here nor there.
We're going to land this ship.
I should say, going back to X-Men 97, I should say, we're talking about the animation just for a minute. The look and the characters all felt within that old X-Men era, and I was super happy to see that.
Yep.
I was super happy to see, I think there's a strong reference to comic books in there, so they kept the comic book references. Savage Land, that's what it was. X-Men the Savage Land. It just bothered me so bad, I couldn't remember what the land it was. Anyway... but there was a strong emphasis on the comic books and people from the comic book era who could watch that and go, I remember that costume, or I remember this story plot line.
Well, you were talking earlier, we were discussing sports, and you used the term, these two guys were talking, you could say they had such sportsmanship referencing each other. And I think that that's the same thing, that the best way to wrap this episode up was it went, if you put that DVD set next to this one, you won't feel like you missed anything.
Oh yeah, no, I think so too. I think we could safely say between the two seasons, between the last season of X-Men and the first season of X-Men 97, maybe a year has passed. Maybe a summer sabbatical, like you would when you take a break off cartoons. Sure. It feels like you didn't skip a beat. Yet there's a heavier. What I mean by heavier story plot. The dialogue has been punched up because they know they're not appealing to a 12 to 14-year-old.
Or even younger than that. My God.
Well, I want to say because it was rated a little bit older. Because remember, it was the first cartoon that would say Y7 because it's a superhero action drama. I'd never heard of a rating before. Did they make that up?
Well, I know that you've mentioned that before, and I don't remember. I just can't recall. I hate to say I don't remember on a show, but...
The following is rated Y7 because it's a superhero action drama. I thought it was a joke from X-Men or something, but then realizing, no, what is Y? And why hasn't anyone else been rated before?
Well, probably so many of those ratings changed in the 90s from what it was in the 80s. I think that probably had a lot to do with it.
But you know what else?
The regulations.
I think they wanted to tell the parents, hey, kids, this is not your average superhero. Even back in the day, the old X-Men told some pretty... adult storylines. Not that it was dirty or anything. I'm just saying
advanced.
Just a little bit advanced storylines. And I felt like they were going for that 12 to 15, 16. Because I was 15, 16, and watching X-Men every day. I was loving it. So I think they were trying to make it for that kind of era there. And when X-Men 97 came out, made it for us in a way.
Yep.
All right, so there you go. Obviously, we'd both suggest it, so thank you. I would not have watched it because I've heard this and that. I've heard it was good, but then I was like, okay, well, I don't know who to trust because no one I trusted was saying that. And then you told me it was good, so I finally watched it.
You can trust in God or you can trust in Wes.
Well, you can trust in both when it comes to X-Men 97, I guess. All right, well, that's it for now. Thanks for the suggestion.
Put that claw up, Wolverine.
Snickety snarl. And we'll see you next time on Princes of the Universe.